Hey YouTube, it's Dave from Military Money Mastery, back at it again, and today we're going to be talking about legacy system versus BRS. It's coming towards the end of the year, so we really want to get our information out there, so that way we can make a good choice before the deadline cuts off. So we're going to go over a bunch of stuff today. It's all super important. It's going to be a pretty quick video in comparison to some of the other ones, but there's a lot of information out there, and most of it is something that you actually need to look into yourself. It's not that I can explain to you, it's just things change between different people. So what we're going to go over today, legacy versus BRS. So what are the differences between the two? What are the benefits of each one? There are benefits for each one, so we'll go over those. Which one's right for me? Like I said, it really depends on the person. Are you going to be doing 20 years? Are you going to do 5 years? Are you going to do 30 years? Are you going to just do 12? Or are you just going to do 4? Really depends on who you are and what you want to do. How can I sign up? We'll go over it. I'm not super familiar with the other branches, but I know how to do it for the Coast Guard, and I can point you in the right direction for the other branches. So that being said, the deadline is the 31st of December. If you're in the Coast Guard, you need to have it done before the 20th of this month because our direct access is going down, so you need to have it done before then. This video is typically, or this video will be for people who are under 12 years of service, because after 12 years of service you can't opt in anymore, but it's really good information even if you're over 12 years. That way you can pass it on to people, and that way they know what to do. So we're going to head to the computer, and then we'll go over a bunch of stuff.
All right, so let's go over the BRS versus legacy system. So let's first start by defining what the differences between the two are. So you have legacy and BRS, right? So legacy system is what we're all pretty used to. It's probably what you learned about the most. It's you do 20 years, you earn 2.5% every year. So by 20 years, you hit 50% retirement, or you do 30 years, you hit 75%. It's pretty solid retirement. You know, it's a pension, so it's really good. It's very dependable, very stable. So the BRS, what's the BRS? So BRS is a blended retirement system, as we all know. With the BRS, since you will be getting contribution matching from the government at a minimum of 1%. So even if you're not putting a dime into TSP, they are giving you 1% of your base pay into your TSP account. The biggest thing is they will match up to 5%. So you can put in 5%, and they'll match 5%, and you'll be getting 10% into your TSP, which is very nice. But they take off some of your pension because they aren't contributing for your whole career. So if you were to do 20 years, you'd earn at 2% per year, so you'd get 40% retirement at age, or at 20 years of service, or 60% at 30 years of service. And this is really to just compensate for that difference in pay. The 1 to 5% is pretty good, you know, depending on what you want to do. So what are the benefits of the legacy system? So like I said before, the legacy system is very stable. You're getting 50%. Don't have to worry about anything else. That you're getting that if you do 20 years. If you do 30 years, you're getting 75, which is pretty solid. Most service members don't even do 20, but if you can make it to 20, or if that's what you want to do, that's great. And if you make it to 30, it's really good. As far as pension pay goes, you'd be wheeling in a nice chunk of change depending on, you know, how much rank you pick up over the time. So what are the benefits of the blended retirement system? So when your retirement matures, you should, like your TSP. So I'll refer to the TSP as a retirement, but because it is. So when your retirement matures, you'll probably have a larger amount of money in your retirement account because you're getting contribution matching. I mean, that's taking into account if you're putting in, you know, at least 5% matching. You definitely end up with more money, hopefully, if the markets stay good. You do have the higher option of making more money if you contribute towards the TSP. So say you're in the legacy system and you're only contributing 5%, but you're in the BRS and you're contributing 5% and getting matched 5%, that number is going to be way bigger. one of the things is with the BRS, you really need to watch the markets. You need to watch the TSP, make sure that your money's in the right funds at the right time, or you're in like an L fund, which is something that I'm going to go over in future episodes about TSP. I'm probably going to do one episode per fund because there's so much information out there that you really need to know before you start putting your money into different places. Also, another benefit of the BRS is at 12 years, you get a continuation payment. So what that is you get a payment based on a month's salary, and at a minimum it's 2.5 times your month's salary. So what it depends on is how many years you obla serve and how critical your job is at the time. So if your job is super critical, you might get more money. It also depends on which branch you're in. If you're in the Coast Guard, you're probably not getting as much because we don't have as much money as some of the other ones, but you never know. You could be a critical rate and they just really want to retain you. So that being said, so how can you choose which plan is right for you? And really, I can't tell you a magic formula which one's right for you or which one's not, because it really depends on different people. Do you watch the market a lot? Are you just getting into the service and you want to maximize your retirement? Are you getting out early? Are you trying to stay in for 30 years and get that 75%? Or would you rather stick at 60% and gamble, not necessarily gamble, but play the market? It's really up to you. I can't tell you which way to do it. But one good thing about the BRS versus the legacy system is, say you enlisted in 2017, the beginning of 2017. I'd say in 2018, but if you enlisted in 2018, you're already in the BRS. So say you enlisted in 2017 and you enlisted for 4 years and you're like, you know what, I don't know if I want to stay in this whole time. I don't know if I'm going to stay in for 20 years. I just signed up for 4 and I'm just kind of playing it, see how it feels. Go in the BRS. The BRS is going to be the best way for you to maximize the money if you plan on leaving. Also, you've been in for such a short amount of time, so you're probably going to have a better deal with the BRS. So with the BRS, like after you've vested 2 years of service, you're getting that 1% matching, and you can really build up a good chunk of change. Now, I've been talking about the BRS being awesome. Let's talk about how awesome the legacy is. If you've been in for, at my point, 10 years, legacy system is looking a little bit better to me because I'm having a better option of more money over a long period of time because I am already halfway done with my obligated service towards retirement. So if I do 20 years, I'm going to get 50%. If I were to go into the BRS, I would cut 10% off of my retirement and I'd only have 10 years of contribution matching. So for me, it's really not worth it, but for some people it is, and it really depends on how risky you want to be, because of course the TSP is not guaranteed like the legacy system's 50%, but you never know. Yeah, the markets could be doing phenomenal. Right now they're not doing great, but there's always money to be made. If you're in the G fund, guess what? You're still making money. You've still been making money this whole year. If you're in the C fund, it's kind of up and down, S fund, up and down, I fund, up and down. But it's just something that you need to look into. And like I said, we'll go over that in a future video. And yeah, if you're in the BRS and you get your contribution pay, or your continuation pay, I'm sorry, I would highly suggest reinvesting it back into your TSP. And it's going to help offset some of the difference of the 50% retirement, because that's a huge lump going in, and that's gonna do wonders for your big retirement pay. Okay, so with those examples, let's go over how to sign up for the BRS. So I'm not super versed in the ways of the other branches, but I know that you can go onto MyPay, and you can sign up through there. And if you have questions about how to sign up or which links to go to, or if you need to talk to anybody, I would highly suggest going to an E6 or above, or your Command Financial Specialist. And if you don't know who your Command Financial Specialist is, I'm sure you can ask somebody and they can tell you. And they're probably the better one to talk to about this kind of thing than just an E6 or above. But if an E6 or above is the only person you can talk to, I would highly suggest doing that because they were mandated to take that BRS training. For Coast Guard members, since I'm obviously more familiar with that since I'm a Coast Guard member, it's super simple. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to Direct Access, right? You're going to log in. You're going to click under the Tasks menu. You're going to go to My BRS Elections. It's going to bring you up to a page. You're going to have 3 questions. And you're going to agree to them, and then you're going to hit Submit. And that's it. You're in. And your contribution, your BRS contribution date will start today. They don't back pay all the way till the beginning of January 1st, 2018. It starts today. One of the big things is for all branches is that the cutoff date, whether you go in or not, is December 31st of 2018. Something that's really important for Coast Guard members is they'll be shutting down Direct Access on the 20th, meaning that you'll need to get into it on the 19th at the latest. I don't know what time they're going to be shutting down Direct Access on the 20th, but if this is something that you really want to do and you're not into it, I would highly suggest getting into it before the 19th because you won't have access to it after that. Also, so now that if you did sign up for the BRS, congratulations. If not, congratulations too. But once you're in the BRS, this is super important. You need to make sure your money is going into the right funds. I had a huge problem where I spent 8 years in the service and I didn't know where my money was going. And I finally looked at it and it was terrible. I had not nearly as much money as I wanted. Since learning about these kind of things and since learning what the markets are like and what the different funds do, I've done really, really, really well with changing my contributions around and actually making a lot of money. But it's something that you need to really, really pay attention to if you're in the BRS because this is going to be a large portion of your retirement. So if you're in the BRS, I would say take Warren Buffett's advice. What does he say? Never lose money. On any deal you make, never lose money. That's like super important. So what I'm gonna link below is I have this document here. It's the BRS information guide. It's a guide to uniform services blended retirement system. Sorry, I'm looking over at this screen, and it's kind of a dry read, I would say, but there's tons of good information here. If you're on the fence about whether you want to contribute to the BRS or you want to stay in legacy, I would highly suggest reading this because this is super important because once you're in, if you opt into the BRS, you're not getting out. It's in or out. So it's super important that you look into this before you make that decision. Read everything that you can. It's 17 pages. I know it's like, man, I don't have time to read 17 pages. Just pick it up. You're at work, say, go to your boss, be like, hey, you know what? For me, it would be, talk to my chief or something, be like, hey, chief, you know what? I don't know if I want to opt into the BRS. Time's getting crucial, and I really want to know what to do first. Do you mind if I take 20, 30 minutes and just read this pamphlet? I guarantee you they're going to say, yeah, you know what? This is super important. It's your future. So you need to read into this before you make huge decisions. So this is a really good document. Tons of good information. Anything that you want to know is right in here. Talk about contribution matching, and they give tons of resources. Another good one is you have the militarypaydefense.gov. This is the BRS website. Tons of great information here. You have a BRS comparison calculator, which is super helpful. You can click on it. You can compare, what your legacy payments would be over time, or what your BRS payments would be over time. You can kind of play with the numbers. Like, say you're doing really good in the stock market over 10 years and you're earning like 15-20%. It's going to look a lot different than if you're earning like 5-10%. So that's something really good to look into. And if you have a question about anything on the BRS, you're going to find it right here. It's super, super helpful. And another site that I found, DoD Live, they give kind of a brief snapshot of the BRS. It's not very long, it's this long. And it's really good to kind of break it down in layman's terms so you can understand what you're going through and what different options may or may not be if you don't have time to sit down and say read all this. That being said, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I know this is kind of like a shorter film than the other ones, and I kind of like threw this one together because, like I said, the Coast Guard's time's running out for when we can sign up, and everybody's time is actually running out before we set up. So you have like, was it like 20 days before you can sign up, and you got Christmas and stuff around this time, so everybody's kind of going a million different directions. So it's really important that you listen to this or read this information and make a decision that's going to impact your future. Okay, this is super, super, super important. And if you don't make this decision while being like well educated, it could ruin your retirement. So that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments. Join our Facebook group at Military Money Mastery. Send me a message on there, and I'll respond to it as quickly as I can. Any question, I'll go over it. I'll try to go over it to the best of my knowledge, and if I don't know, I'm going to find somebody who knows. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and like the video. That way more people could see it. And if you have anybody who has any questions about the BRS and wants to contact me, share this video, share the information that I've given you guys, and I can hook them up. So thanks. This is Dave. Thanks for tuning into Military Money Mastery, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.